Hello, everyone. Tonight, we explore one of the strangest and most chilling disappearances in human history, the vanishing village of Anjikuni Lake. Imagine traveling across a frozen wasteland, far from civilization, where silence stretches endlessly over snow-covered land. That's what fur trapper Joe LaBelle experienced one winter night in 1930, as he made his way toward an Inuit village near Anjikuni Lake in northern Canada. Joe had visited this village many times before. It was a friendly, warm place, where the people always greeted him with laughter and firelight. But this time, there was nothing. When Joe arrived, something felt wrong immediately. The first thing he noticed was the eerie stillness. No voices. No footsteps, no smoke from fires. Just the whisper of the wind over snow. He called out for the villagers, but there was no answer. He stepped into the first hut and found something that made his blood run cold. The fire was still burning. Food was sitting in bowls, half-eaten, but there was no one inside. He searched the next hut, and then another. The same thing. No people. No signs of struggle. Clothes, tools, and weapons were neatly placed as if the people had just stepped out for a moment. But outside, there were no footprints, no tracks leading away. It was as if the entire village had simply vanished into thin air. Joe LaBelle ran to the edge of the frozen lake, scanning for any movement. But the vast white expanse was empty. He checked the dog pens, and what he found there was horrifying. The village sled dogs were lying dead, frozen in the snow, still tied to their posts. They looked like they had been starved, but the strange part was the villagers would never abandon their dogs. In this harsh land, sled dogs were survival. Panicked, Joe made his way to the nearest telegraph office and reported the discovery. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP, quickly sent a team to investigate. What they found only deepened the mystery. When the Mounties arrived, they confirmed Joe's story. The entire Inuit village was completely deserted. Dozens of people, men, women, and children, gone. There was no blood, no struggle, no sign of panic. Their clothes were still there, their food supplies untouched, and their homes perfectly orderly. Then came something even more disturbing. The Mounties found the village graveyard, but the graves were open and empty. Every burial site had been dug up. The bodies missing. There were no signs of animals, no claw marks or disturbance in the snow. The graves had been opened cleanly, as if by human hands or something else. As word spread, newspapers across North America began reporting on the mystery at Anjikuni Lake. Some claimed strange blue lights had been seen in the sky above the lake around the time the villagers disappeared. Others said there had been a rumbling sound, like thunder, though the skies were clear. The RCMP launched multiple searches over the following months, but found nothing. Nobody. No belohins. Not even footprints in the snow. The case eventually went cold, and no one has ever officially explained what happened. But theories? Oh, there were many. Some said it was mass migration, that the villagers simply moved away due to famine or disease. But that didn't make sense. Why leave all their tools, food, and sled dogs behind? Others believed it was revenge by spirits, angered by the disturbance of sacred land. Then came the more bizarre explanations, that the villagers had been taken by aliens, abducted by a UFO, that left behind nothing but silence. Those glowing lights in the sky, some say they were ships descending from above, taking the entire population into the night. Skeptics argued that the story might have been exaggerated. They claim there's no official RCMP report from the 1930s about the case. Some believe it's an urban legend born from campfire tales and newspaper myths. But here's the strange part. Even though official documents may not exist, several trappers and hunters from nearby areas claim to have seen the village before it vanished. And never again after that winter. If it was all a myth, why were there consistent accounts of that empty, frozen settlement? Why did Joe LaBelle risk his reputation by reporting something so unbelievable? Eyewitnesses described the area around Anjikuni Lake as eerie. Compasses malfunctioned. Radios picked up strange static, and shadows moved across the snow when no one was there. Some modern researchers think there could be geomagnetic anomalies in that region. Natural electromagnetic forces that affect both humans and animals. Maybe the villagers were somehow affected, disoriented, drawn into the wilderness, never to return. But there's something even more chilling. In the 1950s, decades after the Anjikuni disappearance, pilots flying over the same area reported seeing strange glowing discs beneath the ice, as if something massive was buried beneath the frozen lake. Could it be a crashed object? A base? No one knows, because even today, the region remains remote and largely unexplored. As years passed, the story of Anjikuni Lake faded into legend, but it still haunts those who hear it. Every winter, travelers report hearing faint voices echoing across the ice, though no one is there. Dogs bark into the darkness, sensing something unseen. And some say that on clear nights, you can still see lights dancing above the lake, like the souls of the vanished villagers calling out to be found. So what really happened at Anjikuni Lake? Was it alien abduction? A supernatural curse? Or something even stranger? A phenomenon we still don't understand. Maybe it's one of those mysteries we're not meant to solve, because sometimes the silence of the Arctic holds answers too dark to uncover. And that's the story of the vanishing village of Anjikuni Lake. A haunting reminder that not all disappearances can be explained by time, reason, or science.